Phil, weigh in on what you think is going on in Foxborough. Did ownership make a decision? Is the decision made? Is Bill fired? A lot of people ran with what Tommy Curran said this week, basically turning it into he said Bill is fired and that they made the call after Germany.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's a great reporter. I'm going to co-sign on whatever Tommy Curran reports because he's that good, and I trust what he says. Now, we talked about it on the Patriots Talk podcast yesterday, and we got into a little more granular detail over, okay, so does that mean it's a final decision? Final answer? Who wants to be a millionaire sort of situation? Final answer. No, I don't think so. People reserve the right to change their mind, but I think it's fair to say they are leaning strongly in one direction based on what Tom has reported. And I think it's been a little misconstrued too, because I was on the set with him when he made the comments that he made on Early Edition earlier this week that have gotten so much play. I think people have sort of taken it and run with the fact that it was the Germany game that was the final straw, and I don't think that's correct. I think it's one moment in a long line of moments that will lead the Krafts to whatever decision they end up making. But to say that it was because of the Germany game, I don't think is accurate. Does that make sense?
No, I get what you're saying, but
it's the timing of the conversation. It was him noting the timing of the conversation, not noting the moment that led to Tom using the word decision there.
Oh, okay.
Remind me again. Remind me again. What game was it when they had shared the booth and Jonathan sort of flipped the hand like
we're not good enough. I thought that was the Commanders.
That's game. Commanders, right? That's when you said that was like potential low point.
I said before that game was played.
That was big.
If they get booed off the field at halftime and they lose to the tanking Commanders, that would be rock bottom. I was wrong.
I still feel like it was. I feel like that was the real, okay, they've arrived at the bottom.
Oh, boy.
Everything's just going to be really bad, and it's continued to be bad outside of their win last week.
Quarterback killed you in Germany.
Flexed out of Monday night, Germany debacle. Because Germany you're losing, in theory, right? You're losing a toehold in an international market. Like if this is NFL franchises warring over territory, that's a big loss.
There are implications that extend beyond that game and the season record and all that stuff. So
they have continued to trend downward. I thought they hit rock bottom, but now they are reaching various levels of the Earth's crust. No? No, I can't name them. I think we've already had this discussion on this show. We've already established that I know nothing about science. Mantle.
Mantle.
You knew that word?
Mantle core.
Now you're
outer core, inner core.
Outer core, inner core.
Wow, you guys are
what's the
much brighter than I am.
What's the liquid
magma.
Is that a level of the Earth's crust, or is that just what you hit when you get to a level of the Earth's crust? You know what I'm saying?
It's also plate tectonic theories, too. The shift in the
crust
plates.
is also...
Sharks have freaking lasers on their heads.
Like the thinnest level, right? The crust is the thinnest of all the layers.
It's like an egg.
It's like an eggshell.
Outward shell.
That's good comp. So Zoe really bringing the metaphors this week in comparisons. Vinegar, now the eggshell. He's doing a hell of a job. You're doing a hell of a job, Zoe.
To me, the question now is, as far as this relationship goes between the Krafts and Belichick, I mean, there's so many to me. Number one, I would say in the here and now, like today, who's thinking about the team's future, in your opinion? Who's managing the roster with the future in mind?
Bill, I don't think is.
Who should be?
Bill.
Should it not be ownership?
Should they be stepping in? Is that your question?
Should they be stepping in at some point and making suggestions? That's a question that I am asking myself right now.
I'd be concerned if I was the owner of the team and Kendrick Bourne's back next year. He's one of the few receivers signed with Juju and Devontae, but you don't have a tight end signed. Ramondre's back. That's about it.
But there's only so much you can do in terms of signings and things of that nature right now. How about 3 little mini flashpoints that the team has faced in the last few days? Number one, you lose quarterback Malik Cunningham to the Ravens because he's on your practice squad, not your active roster.
A good development project that is now gone.
Right, and it's not you or I saying that he has promise or that he's a good development project. We may feel that way.
I always said he was. I'm like,
the Patriots,
good guy to have and to try and develop into something.
And whether we feel that way or not, the Patriots told you they feel that way.
Right.
They made him the backup quarterback in a must-win game earlier this season. They've kept him around. They've spent time and energy trying to develop him at two different positions, trying to figure out what he can do at the next level. Bill Belichick said the other day at the podium after he was gone, yeah, they tried to bring him back. So they liked him. It's not about whether we like him. They liked him. They lost him for nothing because they have JaMychal Hasty and Jeremiah Farms and Christian Ellis on the 53-man roster, and they couldn't find a spot for Malik Cunningham.
Alex Austin.
Vidarian Lowe. I mean, just keep going. Like, this is not a good roster. This is not a loaded roster where the last 10 guys on the 53 can't be lopped off and brought back on the practice squad in all likelihood. So that's number one because, Malik Cunningham may never pan out. He may never be good. It may never work for him in the NFL at the NFL level. But that scratch ticket is valuable enough that I would think you'd want to protect him. But if
you liked him enough to overpay him after the draft to be the team that landed him.
As an undrafted rookie, yep.
Yes.
Paid him more money than they've ever given anybody as an undrafted rookie.
Thank you. Good idea. The idea was a good one.
And if he hits, he's more valuable than if Jeremiah Farms hits. Or if Christian Ellis hits.
Where did Jeremiah Farms go? Is it Friends Unit? Is that a thing?
He went to multiple colleges. I don't think you're off track there. Might be worth checking that one out.
Sounds like T-Bone said sounds like a place where Zoe ran in yelling about pies. Jeremiah. Let's see.
What do you got?
High school Stagg High School in Stockton, California, Sacramento City College.
And then he went
San
to
Joaquin Delta College.
NAIA school, Friends University in Wichita, Kansas. Friends. He went to Friends.
Be there for
He played for the Wichita Force, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the New England Patriots.
Pittsburgh
Friends
Maulers.
U.
Friends U is where he went. Okay.
So
Jeremiah Farms.
That's our fight song.
if you end up as Robert Kraft looking at something like that and wondering, should we have stepped in there? Jeremiah Farms, he might have a role on this year's team as a backup defensive lineman, and if we don't have him, and then Lawrence Guy gets hurt, then what do we do? Right? Does it matter at this point? The playoffs are out of the question. You're a 3-win team.
Yeah.
How about injury situations like Ramondre Stevenson? He's not on IR. He's taking up a 53-man roster spot. Does anyone here think he should be coming back and playing this season?
No.
IR him, keep Malik Cunningham.
I would look at even one more, and I would say, who's the most promising receiver we have on our roster right now? It's Pop Douglas.
Pop Douglas. IR, we'll see you next year.
He's coming off of 2 concussions. I'm happy that he was able to practice this week. Bill Belichick said he cleared concussion protocol, so he's good to go. He's healthy enough to play. If I'm the Crafts, am I looking at it and saying, is it really worthwhile to bring him back and run him out there on the field? Why don't we just shut him down the rest of the season and bring him back?
Can he take an NFL beating, though, too? That's part of it. Now, I'm not getting into concussions or whether or not a guy should play with a concussion or not, but if you're cleared, you're cleared.
He's cleared.
You got to find out a little bit of a toughness factor there. No, I'm just saying it's 17 regular season games, and if you're going to count on him, and he's going to be a big part of
Why
your
is
offense,
but multiple concussions are not a sign of a tough play.
then what do you clear him
That's
for
not a
then?
toughness
But
matter.
if he's cleared, you go play. That's my point.
Well,
I could
we're
see if
saying
you're-
they shouldn't play him.
Playing through bumps and bruises is being
but if
tough.
he's not hurt.
Multiple
and cleared.
concussions is a different type of thing.
Do you need to know that to have him back next year? His toughness level?
No, but I would. There's guys like Parker. I'm concerned about him. He always has a knee or a concussion.
I'm not concerned about him. He stinks.
All I'm saying is
But that's my point. You want to hook up with okay, we can count on this guy for 6 games.
the big
my
picture,
point. That's all.
question to me is if you're the Crafts and you're looking at it and you aren't as concerned with 2023, obviously, as you shouldn't be, as you are 2024.
You should protect the few players that matter in 2024 that you could protect
Okay,
right now.
but what if protecting them in that fashion, going down to Bill Belichick's door, knocking on the door, and saying, hey, I'd like to do this, this, and this with your 53-man roster, does that not lead to a combustible situation as you're approaching tentatively the end of this relationship?
Maybe, but light a match, Robert. It's your team. Do something.
But is that worthwhile? Maybe you want to come back and talk about this. But I think there are things that might outweigh what's best for the roster that might be best for the organization. And I think the Crafts should be concerned about both,
Yeah, I think
and they have to put both on the scales and figure it out.
Didn't you just describe everything there?
But if you blow it up with Bill Belichick and you run the risk of ruining that relationship over Ramondre Stevenson's high ankle sprain, for instance, is that worth it? and you're going to have this bad relationship now, and you can't bring him back to celebrate him later on, you should want to celebrate
Why should
him.
Robert Kraft
should wanna be
tiptoe around
celebrated.
Bill Belichick right now? That
Because
would
of
be
history,
my question.
because of history, because of what the fans might want in terms
For
of
the same,
celebrating
for
him
the
down
same
the road.
reason he didn't fire him after they got back
For
from
the
Germany.
relationship. It's for the relationship.
I wanna-
There's some value in that, Beetle. You'd have to acknowledge that.
I think that they are concerned with that. I think you're right. I don't know what the big value is in that. If you're talking about trying to get your team back to winning,